Lion Board of Trustees. It's Monday, December 4th, 2023. We can please stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Could you let the record show, April, that we are all present except for Trustee Blades, and she did call me and tell me she was not feeling well.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to move on to the approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
John, I had one question on the meeting schedule. Is that,
Okay.
should I just pull that off and ask her?
Yeah, go ahead and pull it off.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so we'll pull that off and move it to item 12.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the removal of the meeting schedule.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to move on to the approval of the agenda. I have nothing to add or delete.
I'll move the approval of the agenda with the addition of meeting dates under item 12.
I'll support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll move on to announcements and communications, and I know we have a couple.
Yes, I just wanted to let all our Lyon Township voters know that we will be having a February 27th, 2024 presidential primary election, and this is going to be the starting of our 9 days of early voting. So we are looking for anyone who would like to work elections, as long as you are a Michigan resident and a registered voter. You can pretty much work anywhere. It doesn't have to be county-wide any longer. So we'll be taking people who would like to work the early dates, the 9 early days. You don't have to work all 9. It's just we're going to have a sign-up schedule. But we also really do need workers for all day on Election Day on the 27th. So just so you know, give us a call or visit the website. We'll have an application there if you're interested in working.
Okay?
All right, just want to let everybody know that your 2023 winter tax bill went in the mail last Friday. So that little love note that you get from me, if you don't receive it in about a week, please give us a call at the Township Hall, contact the Treasurer's Office, and we can duplicate that bill for you and get it out to you. So.
Okay, anyone else? All right, I do have an announcement. First of all, I'd like everyone to notice that we have on-air signs now on both sides of the room. We basically put together a new audio-visual room that's in the back corner now. We don't have the cameras and the live feature sitting in the back of the room. It's still streaming. When you see the on-air, that doesn't necessarily mean we're live until the 7 o'clock note, and when she gives me the thumbs up, them on-air lines are going to the world. So just so everyone knows that. And I was kind of wanting to make sure that both sides of the room were shown so that everyone knows that. Okay? The other thing is I wanted to thank everybody for a pretty productive 2023. This is the last meeting of 2023, and I think the board has accomplished a lot. I think from water quality, from enhancements to the boardrooms, from everything you see here. I'm very proud of this board. I just want to tell you that. And this is not a one-man show here in the township. This is a unit that's put together from the DDA and all the different boards that work together so strong in this township to bring it to what it is today. And I just want to say, from my position here as supervisor, I'm extremely proud of this township, our law enforcement, our fire department. We've worked through so many great things. Our DDA, bringing all the great things you've brought to the downtown. Our consultants that care as much about this township as we do. Our building department that's usually overwhelmed, but just going strong. And then as you walk into our front room here in the township, everybody has a smile on their face. And that's just because it's a great place to be. And I want to thank everybody for that. It's a wonderful place to be the supervisor in, and I thank you all for the confidence that you've shown me for the last 7 years. And thank you all. And Carol, I didn't forget you. She's been amazing to our community. She's been such a great neighbor. If I've missed anybody, I'm super sorry. But everybody they're a team here. That's all I can say. No one person could ever do what we've accomplished here in this township. Thank you all. And Merry Christmas, by the way. Okay, anything else? All right, we're going to move on to call to the public. That's where anyone can stand up and talk about non-agenda related items. Please give your name and address for the record. Please keep it in 3 minutes. Okay, seeing none, we're going to close call to the public and move on to reports. First report up, DDA. Amy.
Good evening, everyone. I included a copy of my director's report in your board packets tonight, but just to highlight a few of the items. On the Saturday after Thanksgiving, the DDA hosted our Giving on the Grand event over at Inspiration Park. We had over 20 volunteers, adults and children, and spent about 3.5 hours working together, setting up over 50 inflatables and holiday displays over at the park. That will be running December 1st through the 31st, each night starting at dusk. So please, if you get a chance, stop over there and see it. I just want to say thank you to all the volunteers that helped us out. It goes very quick when you have that many hands helping, so I appreciate that. I've also been working with our new DPW director on the replacement of some of the damaged light poles around the ring road. So I just wanted to give you an update on that and let you know that they have been ordered. The lead time is quite significant though, so it looks like we won't get those until probably April, it's looking like. So those won't get installed till springtime, but that is being addressed. I'm very happy to announce too that our Economic Vitality Committee is undertaking some projects for 2024. We're working on a development incentive projects list, which is basically focusing on ways to encourage development in some of the empty parcels in our downtown and some of the blighted properties, really brainstorming on how we can help motivate development, and also looking at some creative uses for our current DDA-owned properties. So we got lots of ideas of things that we want to see happen in this next year. Along that line too, our promotions committee is working on creating a new business ambassador program that we're really excited about. There's lots of new businesses coming into the community, and with the staff of one, it's hard to get out to a lot of them. So we're creating an ambassador program where we can have some representatives from our DDA group actually going out and visiting these businesses on our behalf and finding out what's needed in the community so it can increase our communication. In that line too, I just want to announce that we do have, the DDA has 4 different arms, as I've mentioned before, and this is the first time since I've been here that we are actively hosting subcommittee meetings for all 4 of those arms. We've got a complete schedule for 2024 for every committee, so we will be meeting monthly. So we're very excited to see our participation and volunteers stepping up. We've got a lot of new committee members, so we're really excited about it. Next month, I have an intention to have a report for everybody with our 2023 activation numbers for businesses that have been involved in different events and breaking down our volunteer service hours and numbers. So I'm excited to present those to you. And then this coming weekend on Saturday, if the weather cooperates, we are going to be hosting our Lighting Up the Grand event. We've got lots of activities planned: face painting, character artist, hot cocoa, s'more station, letters to Santa, all sorts of things. We've had lots of great participation with sponsors and businesses getting involved. Blake's of Lyon Township, Walbridge, Mitten Animal Hospital, Hey Babe Beauty Bar, the Lyon Township Public Library, New Hudson United Methodist Church, Men Bake Cookies, Ashley Neely Design, Spun Sugar, and Hines Park Ford. All these sponsorships are both monetary and in-kind and just participation. We're also giving out some goodie bags to the first 100 kids on site, so we've had lots of businesses donate swag items to those bags. We're really excited. And then one other note, I wanted to let you know that we did decide today, and a notice went out, that we decided to postpone our ribbon cutting event for the parking lot until spring, when we can get some landscaping done in there and pretty things up. I think with the weather that we've had this weekend, it's just looking a little rough, so we decided to wait until the spring to do that. So I appreciate everybody's understanding, but our sign did get installed over there. I think it looks really great, so we're really excited to see where it goes from here. Does anybody have any questions?
Everything's going very well, and thank you for that report. We're going to move on to Chief Fire. Come on, Chief.
Good evening. For you guys, for the month of November, we actually hosted the Northfield Township Fire Department over at our training facility. They came out and invited our on-duty crews to participate as well. They did at the tower. They did some different rescue drills and things like that, where they could work together and helped with our mutual aid as far as learning how they do things, and we could show them how our crews actually train. Fire prevention for the month of November did 35 inspections, totaling just over 1.8 million square feet. And those 35 inspections, bringing us to date to 486 inspections at 15.8 million square feet. Training Officer Captain Blades was sent to the Michigan Fire Inspectors Conference as a representative of our department and became an emergency vehicle driving instructor for our agency. So we're looking forward to having him do some more driving instructing around our agency. On average for the month of November, our firefighters trained approximately 10 hours per month. And this month, for December, they will be focusing on rural pump operations. So far, at the end of November, we are up 176 calls for service year to date. Last year, at the end of November, we were at 1,610. This year, we are at 1,786. And just to clarify, when calls for service is everything that we do go out on. It's for odor investigations, lift assist, medicals. Someone calls because their smoke detectors are going off in their house. They want us to come out and check them. Anytime someone calls the sheriff's department or the station and our trucks roll out the front door, number is generated for a call for service. Just so you guys know. Any questions?
Doing some good stuff.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Okay, Lieutenant.
My glasses on. They make me look smart.
No, they don't.
I want to share a couple of updates. I get busy. All right. First of all, I'd like to thank the community for the coat drive. It did conclude, and we raised over 7 full bags full of coats. So filled up the back of the Tahoe. We got over 40 new coats. So I'd like to thank everyone who participated in that event. Next up is a quick Shop with a Hero update. So I spoke with the guy that runs it. Right now we're tentatively looking at 72 kids, and I've asked that he front load the appointments because we're going to have at least 20 first responders and heroes that show up at the beginning of it. So it should be a great event. The funds are coming in. I raised twice as much money as we did last year. So again, I'd like to thank the community for the support and all the businesses and residents and all of you that donated to that fine event. Next up, we have a flock update. Now, the portable is working. We're getting it out. We're still getting used to the equipment and how it functions. So we don't really have much feedback from that. But the 5 permanent cameras, I spoke to them. They said the permits from the Road Commission just came in, so they're expecting to have those up and running and be online between December 26th and December 28th. So I'll give them till after the first of the year. If they're still not on, I'll make a follow-up call because they want to get paid, but they're not working yet, so we're going to withhold those funds until we get our equipment right. All right. And the last thing, I think I mentioned this in a previous meeting. A couple of weeks ago, I went ahead and I implemented an additional directed patrol unit to function on the afternoon shift with the holiday season coming and packages out. So their task and their job is to only patrol subdivisions unless there's an emergency. I'm happy to report that in the 2 weeks that it's been going on, my guys have hit 200 subdivisions in those last 2 weeks. So I'm very pleased with that, and I think we're going to continue that throughout the holiday season. And again, when the new position becomes added in the new year, I think we'll have a little bit of latitude to make some adjustments within the budget without making it an overtime position. And that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions for me? All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lieutenant. All right, we're going to move on to the Planning Commission.
Okay, we only had one meeting in November, and it was November 13th. We held a public hearing for the design edition, special land use, and also the site plan review. The site plan was approved or recommended to the board upon approval of the special land use being approved by the township board. We had no old business, new business. We had the Center Point Medical Center site plan review. That's down by Allen Court. And actually, we tabled it, we needed some additional information. And so that'll be on a future agenda. We also had South Hill Business Park Unit 3 extension of approval. And the extension request was made in the proper time limit, and that was approved by the township or planning commission. We had a discussion and scheduled public hearings for 2 items. One was the right-of-way measurements, that's a text amendment, and the other one was the minor site plan modifications, text amendment. So those will be coming for public hearings in the near future. And the best thing that is coming is we're finally done with the master plan. At our meeting in December, we will be reviewing that with a recommendation coming to the board in probably our January or February meeting. So I'm looking forward to the new year, and thanks, Brian, for a great job on the planning commission for us. That concludes my report. If there's any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Patty. I'm going to move on to the ZBA, which Lisa's in here. Was there a meeting?
There was a meeting in
The one
November.
time she had a meeting.
Her time to shine. She didn't.
All right.
The ZBA did meet this month. They reviewed 2 variance requests, one for a generator placement in front of the Learning Center. That's the new facility going on the corner of Pontiac Trail and Pontiac Trail. The ZBA had a lot of discussion about that, but ultimately approved that with several conditions that the generator and equipment be screened from the road right away. The other case that they reviewed was a rear setback variance for one of the Lion Crossing outlots, the one to the far east along Grand River, right along there's a retention pond south of Zot, and a very odd shaped lot, and to fit a strip commercial center in there, they required a variance. The ZBA approved that, so we can expect that commercial center will move forward. That was the last step for that approval. So, just those 2. There is no meeting for the ZBA in December.
Okay, Brian, well, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, building department, Dave, anything going on there?
No, we're still up here working 5 days a week, so keeping everybody busy. This is a report from October. So we had a total of building permits of 87, 22 of those were new residential. And we C of O'd, a full C of O's to 34 homes, and then 5 were temporary C of O's. And the temporary ones are happening now because of the winter months, and we can't do outside concrete, so we don't give them a full C of O. And then come springtime, of course, they start pouring again, and hopefully they'll have all the winter builds done by June 1st. That's the date that we picked, but we kind of have to back that up. Some years because of the weather. If it's too wet or something, they can't get it done, they can't get it done. So we just look at it when the time comes. So compared to 22, we had a total number of 80 building permits and 39 in 22. So a little bit more work going on closer to Christmas. A lot of times Christmas slows things down, people's projects. And then some more exciting numbers right here is the total number of the C of O's was 39, including those 5 temporaries, compared to 32 last year. So we're doing a little bit more than last year, and things are still coming in, so it hasn't really slowed down yet, which is a surprise, but still going. That's about it. Anybody got any questions?
Very good, Dave. That was exciting too, by the way. All right, we're going to move on to the water, and in the water scenario, it's not much different than it was in our last report, other than as of today, through Thursday, we're going to try to dial the numbers down again. We've been staying pretty steady at about 13 to 15 grains of hardness throughout the township, but that's on purpose. We're taking it slow. This is a big system, and it's taken a lot of work to get the soft water where it needs to be. But we are between 13 and 15, and this next 4 days, including today, till Thursday, we're gonna try to dial it to the next step downward. So everything is working amazing. The water quality is amazing. I had a few people I had contact with actually about the softness of the system, and I talked to you, Sean, a little bit about what I tell them, because you know, you're kind of you live it right now, and you told us that you had bypassed your softener, and that you got pretty decent water, maybe not quite as soft as it was when you had it at 0, which we are never going to get to that, but it's very good water. So I kind of use you as an example. I hope you don't mind. And I got the one gentleman that I talked to got back to me, and he said, you know, I appreciate you telling me to take it, you know, I told him, just bypass it, use your water for some time. If you don't like the quality of the water, then turn it back on, till we get our softener where it needs to be. And that's not gonna be immediate, it's a system. It's a cycle of things that we have to do. And he come back and he said, you know, I've been here 17 years, and this is the best quality water I've ever had in the township delivered to my home. And that really made me feel good that we're going in the right direction for trying to get the best water we possibly can give to our residents for a very good price. And that was really nice. I really appreciate that. You don't get that very often in this job, as we all know, and you don't expect it, but it's nice when it comes in. So that being said, any questions about the water system? Everything is going amazing, really. I mean, it's been better than I can even tell you. Okay, then that's going to conclude our reports, and we're going to move to the public hearing that we have tonight. And this public hearing is one that we are required to do over the budgeting of our township. And this public hearing is just a time that any of our citizens, or residents, I should say, can walk up to the microphone and ask questions about the budget. Any concerns or anything they have regarding the budget. So that's all this is. And I want to go ahead and open the public hearing at 7:22, and it's open for public comment. Okay, we're going to close it at 7:22, and we're going to move on to unfinished business. Our first item in unfinished business is the second reading of the adoption of ordinance to amend the Township Lyon Code of Ordinance for streets, sidewalks, and other public places, construction of bicycle paths and sidewalks, and location easement to clarify location of path and sidewalk. I don't think has anything changed in that since the first reading?
No.
So, any questions about this? Well, if not, then a motion would be in order, and we can move this one to ordinance.
I'd like a motion to adopt ordinance number 08-23.
Support.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. We're going to move on to new business. First item in new business is the non-profit recognition of local organization of South Lyon East High School Choir. And I think we do these quite often, actually, trying to help the nonprofits.
Yeah, now I'll make a motion to approve the nonprofit recognition of local organization for South Lyon East High School Choir.
I'll support.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you for coming. I know it would be easy, we do this a lot. We do thank you.
We'll
Would
type
you
that
want-
up, and April will get back with you and get that to you, the sign resolution. Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming.
We couldn't require them to come sing for us or something? That would have been.
I mean, he has a beautiful voice.
You're all invited to come on Saturday
Oh, okay.
for singing Syrup and Santa right there at South Lyon East.
Yeah, I think I'm coming. So. Okay, we're going to move on. The presentation of the water rate study by Tetra Tech, and Mr. Vic Cooper-Wasson is here to kind of show us the way. I love saying your name, by the way. It's awesome. Okay. By the way, I know that this has taken us a while to put it together, but it's been a changing
worth it.
situation the whole time we've been working on it. The chemical feeds and things going on. So he's done a very, very good job on this.
Board presentation and PowerPoint. That should do it. Just a slideshow from the beginning and great. Excuse me, I just want to advance this, make sure I'm pressing the right button. Okay. Okay, great, I got it. Well, great. Well, thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be here tonight to present the water rate study. And as John has said, we've updated it during the year based on the latest data, detailed data that's been provided to us by the township, and really appreciate getting that detailed data. It made for a much better report. So the agenda is to cover these items: the current water rate structure, the proposed water rate structure, a comparison of quarterly bills for the residential customer with the 1-inch meter, and then a discussion of the new customer water capital charges. So as opposed to the routine quarterly water charges, the capital charges are when a new customer comes in and basically buys into the existing system. The proposed new customer water capital charges, and then a comparison of these capital charges, what you have today and what's being proposed. So currently, the water rate structure quarterly rate structure consists of two fees: a fixed meter maintenance charge and then a usage charge. And the sum of those two charges results in your water bill. The meter maintenance charge ranges from $10.21 per quarter for a 5/8-inch meter to over $1,200 for a 12-inch meter. The typical user is a residential 1-inch meter, so the typical meter maintenance charge is $12.16 per quarter. The usage charge is $62 for the first, and that includes the first 1,500 cubic feet of usage. When you go above 1,500 cubic feet of usage, you pay an additional $17.91 per 1,000 cubic feet. Therefore, the minimum bill that typical residential customer with a 1-inch meter, that their minimum quarterly bill includes two components: $12.16 for the meter maintenance charge plus $62 for the usage charge, for a total of $74.16. So you can use up to 1,500 cubic feet, and that gets included in that $74.16. So whether you use 0 or whether you use 1,500, you pay a minimum of $74.16 per quarter. So what about someone who uses more than 1,500 cubic feet per quarter currently? They would pay $12.16 for the meter maintenance charge, $62 for the usage fee, plus $17.91 for every 1,000 cubic feet above 1,500 cubic feet. That's how their water bill will be calculated. So that is the current system. The proposed system is a little bit simpler. It includes two fees, a fixed readiness to serve charge, and it's fixed in that depending on the meter size, you pay a fixed amount every quarter depending on the meter size, plus a usage charge. But the difference is the usage charge starts at 0 usage. Under the proposed structure, the readiness to serve charge would range from $19.64 for a 5/8 meter to over $3,300 for a 12-inch meter. The typical user is a 1-inch meter, and the readiness to serve charge is $49.10. So that's what the bill would be for no usage. For any usage starting at 0, the usage charge is $18.06 per 1,000 cubic feet. Therefore, the minimum quarterly bill for a residential user with a 1-inch meter is $49.10 for the readiness to serve charge, plus 0 usage for 0 for the usage charge for 0 usage, or $49.10. If you use any water at all, your bill is $49.10 for a 1-inch meter, plus $18.06 for every 1,000 cubic feet of usage. So how does it compare? What we looked at for this comparison for a 1-inch meter is someone with a 1-inch meter who uses 0 usage in the quarter, 500 cubic feet, 1,500, 2,500 winter average, 4,000, which is the annual average, and then 9,100, which is the summer average. So currently, if the usage is either 0, 500, or 1,500, currently that user pays $74.16. Under the proposed system, for 0, it would be $49.10, reduction of about 34%. For 500, would be $58.13, or about a 21% reduction. For 1,500, it would be $76.19 for about a 2.7% increase. The 2,500 is for a typical user during the winter, and that 2,500 usage would go from $92.07 to $94.25, or an increase of about 2.4%. On an annual average basis, the annual average is 4,000 cubic feet. And that annual average basis goes from $118.94 to $121.34, which is a 2% increase. In the summertime, where the annual average usage in the summer for a 1-inch meter is 9,100 cubic feet, the current bill is $210.28, proposed $213.45, for an increase of about 1.5%. So that gives you a sense for the most common usage, 1-inch meter, before and after, how things would compare the current system versus the proposed system. Now let's talk about the new customer water capital charges. This is a charge for buying into the existing system. This is a schedule of what those charges currently are. If you have a 5/8 meter or a 1-inch meter, it's $4,500. 1 1/4 inch or 1 1/2 inch meter, in either case, it's $9,250. It goes up to 8 inches, 263,500. There isn't a rate now for 10 inch, and for 12 inches, it's 569,000. So that's the current schedule of new customer capital charges to buy into the water system. Under the proposed system, the 5/8 inch meter category is deleted because your minimum size for new customer is 1 inch. The 1 1/4 inch is deleted because, there aren't connections of that size. And we've calculated a number for the 10-inch meter, which isn't in the current system. And so you see the schedule of fees that, for a typical 1-inch residential customers is $4,500. And how does it compare? If you compare the current to the proposed, this table shows you one to the other. And it's a pretty straightforward comparison. The numbers are similar for the 1 inch and the 1.5 inch, but then go down 2 inches all the way to 12 inches, goes down from what is currently being charged. And that's it. If you have any questions, I'd be pleased to answer them.
Okay, I just want to say, Vic, this is really well put together, and we went through lots and lots of meetings with Vic and a lot of paperwork back and forth to try to get him the numbers to get to the point. And if you notice, we've had calls, the minimum charge that we had charged, people that go to Florida, they don't use any water. And so they're always like, oh, well, why are we paying for water we're not using? So this becomes something that's really friendly to our residents. They pay for what they use. And as you can see, it's really not much of an increase for soft water, and even the capital charges went down. So I really like the study. I think it was done very well, but I'm gonna open it up, and if you have any questions for Vic, please, now's the time to ask. We're hoping to, just so you know, we're hoping to look at this and have a discussion about this tonight, okay? And then go ahead, take it home, read through it, get any questions you might have, and then maybe propose it in January, okay? So this is just a discussion, so please ask all the questions that you want to ask. Anyone want to have anything they want to ask? Go ahead.
I guess, I don't really have a whole lot of questions. I know it's all, well done, as I've seen your stuff before. And I guess it's more or less maybe a procedural thing. I mean, the analysis includes 2024 to 2026, and so what's been presented tonight seems reasonable and stuff for 2024. My questions were more along as we continue on to the 2026, where there were some references to potential increases in the future, and I don't know if tonight's the night to be discussing that, or if that's in January, or...
Open your questions.
Well, the study does look at 2024, 2025, and 2026. That's true. And in terms of increases over the next 3 years, that's highly dependent on the capital improvement projects that actually get built. So right now, the rates that are projected are based on the current capital improvement plan. And as the years go by and you look at that plan every year, well, when you evaluate it every year, sometimes you decide to put off projects or reduce the scale, or also fund some of the projects from your capital reserves, as opposed to what's presented in the report, which is based on the latest information we've received from the Township Board. So what we strongly recommend are 2 things. Number 1, see how the revenue comes in during the year under the proposed rates. Make sure that the usage that we're seeing now kind of stays the same. So you expect the same revenue, approximately. If anything changes, take another look at the rates. But more important than that is to take a hard look at the capital improvement program every year and see if there are going to be any changes to that, and whether projects have been postponed. Because if they aren't postponed, and if the funding assumptions hold up that are included in here, then the potential for increases in the next couple of years is there. So we recommend an annual review of the rates to make sure that it is comporting with what you anticipate you can fund.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I guess, because we have, I think, and built in the assumption there's like 12 different water main projects that would be over the next 3 years, and I don't know if we're really gonna tackle that or not, and that's what would be driving those rates in 2026.
Exactly.
And the nice thing is, I think you had talked about, you could look at these whenever we wanted you to. Now that he's got this thing started, the big bulk of the money's probably paid, and now we can just hire him to keep an eye on it, which is a good thing.
Right, and we'll provide you with the Excel spreadsheet that these are based on, and we strive very, very hard to give you an Excel spreadsheet that is user-friendly. It's not a black box, and so your own staff can even take a shot at looking at the spreadsheet and plugging in different numbers and seeing what the results would be. But certainly we're available to do updates whenever you wish.
Yeah, I'd like to mention that we did spend a lot of time with Vic, and he was extremely thorough, and we're very happy to have him. And thank you to Leslie, who provided a lot of numbers. We did look over the projects from 2024 to 2026, and just like Vic said, it's going to depend on the revenue stream, and it's also going to depend on the growth of the township, and it'll also depend on the projects that the township board decides to fund, and it also depends on whether we're going to pay cash or bond for them. So there's a lot of variables, and we felt really comfortable when we spoke to Vic the last time that he mentioned that he would be very willing to just take a look at them each year, not only for the township, but for our customers, to make sure that we're on the right track, not charging too much, but charging enough to keep the system going. So we felt very comfortable with the report. I know it's a lot to digest because we've been looking at it for months and months and months and going over different scenarios. And poor Vic, we adjusted many numbers for him, and we really appreciate it. But he did an excellent job, well worth every penny. And I think it's just almost like a budget. You got to see what happens in each year to see what you're going to strive for or not. So I feel very comfortable with the report.
So I'm curious, I guess, if you could talk a little bit more about the split between the readiness to serve charge and the rate. You've got it at a consistent 37-63 split. Is that just like an industry standard kind of thing, or is it determined by something else?
That's a great question. It's not an industry standard. Rates have two extremes. On the one extreme, you could have a fixed charge where you simply take the budget divided by the number of users and charge everybody the same. Obviously, that's not fair. The other extreme is to take the budget divided by the billable flow, not have a fixed charge, and everybody pays just simply based on their usage. There is no fixed charge. The truth of the matter is there are some costs that are fixed, some that vary with usage. The basis of the 37% and 63% is I looked at various combinations of that, and I compared it to really focused on the winter average, the annual average, and the summer average to see what balance would most closely align with what somebody is paying today so that there would be a minimal, what we call rate shock. In that case, it only works out to be in the neighborhood of 2% by using the 37%, 63% split. That percentage can be adjusted whenever you adjust your rates. So if, for example, the billable flow goes down in a year, you can consider, and therefore your revenue goes down significantly, you can consider saying, well, instead of a 37%, 63% split, let's make it a 45-55 split to increase the fixed charge and lower the usage charge. So it's more, that selection of that number is more of an art than a science. It doesn't really define that every cost that's quote-unquote fixed is recovered by the 37%, and everything that's variable is the 63%. The key issue is that the rates be reasonable and that you treat every user the same so that the 37%, 63% split applies to everybody, whether you're low usage, high usage, single-family home, or a school. You're still being billed based on that split. So my feeling, the rates are reasonable because you're treating everybody fairly, treating everybody the same. But that is a very important ratio that you've pointed out.
Thanks.
Probably the most important ratio in the study.
Like John, I want to just mention one more thing is as we take the phone calls, and the reason why we wanted to start at 0 is because we do have a lot of seniors in our area, a lot of single people in our area that really don't use a lot of water usage. And we felt that when Vic came up with this, which we really loved, it seems more fair and reasonable to the water customer. And I mean, if you have a large family, you can understand you use more usage. But we really felt bad for a lot of people. I mean, those are mostly the complaints that we get is really just on the usage. And we started you already out at 1,500, so this way we love the idea of what he presented to us, and it seemed to make sense to us that we're working with Vic, that it just made sense to help the people that hardly use any usage. And so anyways, that's what we really loved about it, and it was you did a great job.
I think, there are several reasons why you put a rate study together, and thank you for the excellent and thorough job. I mean, one is obviously to make sure that you can sustain the system going forward. We've spent millions and millions of dollars getting the system to the point it's at, and continue to spend every year to keep it high quality. John touched on that during the report. The only way to do that in a sustainable fashion is to make sure you're balancing those kind of revenue expenses long term. And so that's a huge piece of this, but it's also for equity, to make sure that everyone, like you said, is paying. I shouldn't, with 5 people living in my house, pay the same base charge for someone who might be living alone. It's not equitable. I'm getting a benefit, and they're paying a quote penalty. So I think that this right sizes and kind of helps with that, and I can appreciate that. I'm just glad that you didn't put my water bill. And last time we had this discussion, you put my water bill up and shamed me for all my irrigation. So I'm very appreciative of the fact that my water bill is not in this rate study. And I have dialed it back just so everybody knows.
I can't believe it's not. We talked about that.
I don't water when it rains. So
You can still
just want to
shower.
get that out there. I do still shower once a week. So thank you.
So you telling us you don't use the minimum?
No. With the softened water and the way it makes my hair feel, I take an extra couple minutes in the shower.
Good. All right, any other questions?
And I
Anybody?
think the next component is just probably to look at a capital improvements plan and see what we want to take on.
And we have a year to do that, really. I mean, we can work on that for sure.
Yep.
Okay, well, if there's no
Well, can I
more
just
questions-
do one more thing?
Sure.
If and when this gets approved, if it does, we would start that next March, for our first quarter.
March 2024.
Yeah.
Bill,
So,
we
I mean,
started
that
with that
again, if
bill,
it's-
so it would be effective for the period beginning in January.
That's correct. Mhm.
So for the March bill.
Yes, so the March bill. So, I mean, that's just, we would implement that if the board so chooses
Yeah.
to accept the
Go ahead, Leslie.
report and schedule.
I just want to point out, since you won't be taking action on this tonight, when we draft the utility fee resolution for your January board meeting, I am going to make the assumption that the proposed rates will be what, may be approved, but I want to take those same numbers and put them in the utility fee resolution. So if there are any adjustments, we'll make them in both after your January meeting, because we also have to work on the sewer capital charge increase for January. So at the same time, we would edit the whole fee resolution, just so you're aware of that. So it probably makes sense to do, I'll work with the clerk's department to do that, the utility fee resolution later in the agenda for January.
I want to say just one more thing. So my house is on the water system. I think that's been well established tonight. I want to say that as a water user, I'm going to vote to consider these fees next month, and it looks like I'll be paying, $3 roughly, $3, $4, maybe a quarter more in the summer months to have water now that it's delivered softened to my home. So if anyone in the water system is looking at this as an increase, it's not. It's actually a decrease, because you don't need your water softener. I'm not using my water softener. I bypass my water softener. Potassium's, $9 or $10 a bag, depending on where you buy it. So this is actually a savings. So that the infrastructure improvements made by the township on the water system over the last year or so are actually saving the water users money. It's delivering a high quality water without them needing to treat it themselves in the same way. Not having to run a softener, not having to feed that softener, maintain it, eventually replace it. All that goes away. That is the plan. That's what we're in. So for $3 a quarter, $10, $12 a year, you're saving a couple of $100 a year. So I don't really think that I'm not looking at this as an increase. I'm looking at it as a very, very small, drop in the bucket, pun intended, for a significant savings for every household, for every business that is on the system. So I wanted to say that.
Yeah. And it is a decrease for some people.
And certainly.
It really is. So, it's a good thing. And the capital charges also, they're huge.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Vic.
Thank you very much.
Coming in, and thanks for the
Merry
thorough
Christmas. Thanks for
job.
coming.
Really appreciate it. All right, we're going to move on to the Desing Addition, Special Land Use. Brian, you want to take that?
I will. Thank you, John. This evening is a consideration of a special land use request by Mr. Clark, who's in the audience this evening. The proposal is a 53,000 square foot addition to the building that is, I don't believe anybody's in the building yet. They are in there. Okay, good. That's new. However, it's a 53,000 square foot addition to this facility. The township board just approved the original special land use in 2022. However, it appears that business is good and the need for expansion is present. And so the request is, this area was taken in early 2023. The request will modify the property boundary between, was originally units 9 and 10 of the South Hill Business Park. This expansion will move this property line to the east of the existing building, a bit farther to the east, so that is taking a portion of Unit 8 of South Hill Business Park for a total of 10.69 acres. And I want to note that while there is not any official plan to combine this remaining 2.3 acres, that 2.3 acres that remains of Unit 8 is technically compliant with our zoning ordinance. It's capable of sustaining a standalone building, so that could be used on its own without being combined, although just based on the scale and size of developments in this area, I expect that it will get combined in the future. However, that's a side note. The reason that this is before you for special land use approval is that the building sits in the township's wellhead protection overlay district. In terms of the actual operation, there's really no changes whatsoever. It's just an expansion of the footprint of the building. So we continue to believe that this is an appropriate use in your wellhead protection overlay district. We have no concerns from a planning standpoint and from the zoning ordinance standpoint. Procedurally, the Planning Commission did approve the site plan contingent on the special land use approval by the board this evening, as well as review of the condominium documents to combine these units of the condo. The documents have been submitted for that combination and are under review. I don't anticipate any issues with those, and so we know that that is underway and can be accomplished. So from the planning perspective, this is something that we believe should be approved this evening. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the special land use after they held their public hearing. All signs point to approval from the Township Board this evening from my perspective. That's what I have for you this evening. Thank you.
All right, Brian, thank you. Leslie, I know you have a little letter in here. I know a lot of it has to talk about the easement for the water main.
Yes, yep,
I
our
just want to
letter,
make sure that we're good with that.
yes, our letter is dated November 30th in your packet, and we recommend that conditions be that permanent easements to benefit your water system are provided for access for the water line as well as a softening discharge line. The applicant has agreed, so I do not anticipate this to be an issue. And then we also note that the applicant or the property owner is required to meet the township's local limits, as well as they are prohibited from using the 7 regulated PFAS chemicals by the state of Michigan. And that completes our review.
Okay. The applicant's here. You want to come up, Bill? Or does anybody have any questions for Mr. Clark? If you're not, then a motion be in order.
I'll move the approval of the special land use requested, subject to the conditions found within the November 30th, 23 CES letter and the November 27th, 23 McKenna letter.
I'll support.
All right, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, now we're going to go on to my favorite time of the year here. We have supervisor appointments that are required, 2 of them for sure, each year. And the first one is the Board of Review. Now, we have talked to all the gentlemen on the Board of Review and the one young lady, and they all agreed that they'd like to run again for another year. With the difference is Jim Chuck is going to become the alternate, and Jim Davis is going to become the full-time. He'd like a shot at going on the board full-time. So the only difference that I have is to change Jim Chuck with Jim Davis, and I would like to reappoint them for another year ending 12/31/24.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then we have the supervisor appointments to the zoning board. And basically, I think I would just like to leave them the way they are for one more year. They all agreed to serve again.
I'll make a motion to approve the supervisor's appointments to the zoning board of appeals.
I'll support.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. All right, we're moving on to the general fund amendment 2023, and we do have one. And that is the resurfacing of the trail got us, and we did approve that.
Yeah, we had the money in the budget, but evidently the last invoice carried into 2023, unfortunately, but we did have the money
So
approved there,
that's-
so.
It's our only amendment.
Mhm.
Anyone like to make a motion to amend that?
I'll make a motion to amend the 2023 general fund budget, Department 751 Recreation in the amount of $98,205.75.
I'll support.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now we're gonna move to consideration to approve our 2024 budget. I'm just gonna open this up for anyone that has anything that they'd like to talk about or any worries about what we've done here. We all know exactly what's on it, so.
John, I just want to thank you and Michelle and Patty for your work and getting this information to us, and the staff for getting all the questions that we had answered. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm gonna tell you, Patty and Michelle were the really big runners of this budget this year. They've really done a lot of work on this budget, and I'll tell you, it's so appreciative to have the 2 of them by my side to get through things that are so number-oriented, watching each thing, and it was just, it's a pleasure.
You are a thorn between 2 roses.
No, couldn't have said it better.
With love, though. You know that, John.
Okay, with that being said, if everybody agrees, then we should go ahead and adopt the budget. Anyone want to make that motion to do that?
I will make a motion that we approve the 2024 budget as proposed tonight.
I'll support.
We have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful. Thank you. Another year's budget. All right, our last one is the item removed from the consent agenda, and Chris, please take over.
Yeah, I just had a question on the meeting agenda. It was actually the bottom with the office hours. Is that supposed to be permanent, or is that just the summer hours?
No, permanent.
Are we doing permanent
Yep.
half-day Fridays?
Mhm. Yep. Starting at 8. Mhm.
So for 2024?
Yep.
I think the hours are the same, it's just shuffling them around, right?
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Mhm.
So we'll still be able to serve the
Yep.
residents for the same number of hours.
Yep.
Okay. That was my question.
Okay, you want to make a motion to approve that then? Do we have to reapprove that, or just a question?
I think we took it off, so we
We took it off the agenda.
I'll make a
Right.
motion to approve the meeting schedule as submitted.
I'll support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to move on to closed session.
Sorry, should we just highlight for people who weren't looking at the packet the change to 6 o'clock for next year?
Oh,
Just
yeah,
for-
that's for
so
sure.
everybody
Yeah,
knows
that's good.
Yeah,
for
I'll make a
January.
yeah, just go ahead and, I'll put that in the minutes to make sure that our meetings have all changed to 6 PM for
Yes.
2024
Yeah.
instead of
All the
7.
boards.
2024, all board meetings, I believe all board meetings
Yeah, we're all happy.
are going to start at 6 now, 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Good
Four
thing.
meetings.
That was a
Thanks.
good announcement.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay, we do have a closed session, so we'll need somebody to make a motion to,
One last item. Carol will be returning, or we won't. Okay, so everybody
Be
can,
discussing in closed session, but not making any decision or returning.
I'll make a motion that we recess into closed session for consideration of an attorney-client privileged communication in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.268H.
I will support that.
okay, could you please call this by roll, April?
Yes.
Patricia Carcone,
Yes.
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
Christopher Lombard,
Yes.
John Dolan,
Yes.
Robert Swain.
Yes.
Okay, we are adjourned for closed session.
And the time is 8:02 PM. Should we go into the other room and then they're done here?
Hey, Michelle? Michelle, you turned this into the county, correct? You filled
I've
this
already
out
done
and-
all that,
okay.
yes, yeah, I
It
just
threw
wanted
me.
you
I
guys
was
to,
like, I've
no, I
never
just wanted
seen-
you guys to be aware, just put an X through the bottom. It's been taken care of, it just had the date on it, so I thought it'd be easier to let you guys see that. Yeah, you guys, no, you guys.
Nope,
are
you can all go.
Yep, everybody can go, thank you.
Yep.
Come back in and adjourn when we're done.
Yes.